Hello, this is the verbal reading of the interim assessment number 3 for game design. Question 1. Unlike most digital media, games require active players making choices that affect the game's outcome, which means that games cannot be consumed in what way? 1. Wholeheartedly. 2. Actively. 3. Passively. 4. Independently. Question 2. Many good games are said to be which of the following? 1. Difficult to learn but easy to master. 2. Easy to learn and easy to master. 3. Easy to learn but difficult to master. 4. One that never ends. Question 3. A camera that views the world through the player's eyes is 1. First person. 2. Isometric. 3. Orthogonal. 4. Cinematic. Question 4. Designers can be thought of as the blank of the video game development. 1. Architects. 2. Carpenters. 3. Masons. 4. Safety inspectors. Question 5. How are computer hardware and computer software differentiated? 1. Hardware consists of the physical components of computers and it can be pricey, while software is part of a computer system that contains encoded information or instructions for the hardware. 2. Hardware involves the basic units of programmable color in an image or a display, and software has to do with the sound waves and detailed sound effects used to enhance games. 3. Software consists of the physical components of computers and it can be pricey, while hardware is the part of a computer system that contains encoded information or instructions for the hardware. 4. Software involves the basic units of programmable color in an image or a display, and hardware has to do with the sound waves and the detailed sound effects used to enhance games. Question 6. Rock, paper, scissors is an example of a game that uses 1. Transitive cost. 2. Intransitive cost. 3. Orthogonal relationships. 4. Dominant strategy. Question 7. The collection of computer instructions and other files that constitute a piece of software is the 1. Firmware. 2. Code base. 3. User interface. 4. Game design document. Question 8. What are examples of feedback in a video game? 1. A video recap of the task recently completed by the player. 2. Interesting costume choices or hairstyles that the player chooses for their character. 3. A score or progress bar for the player's knowledge of the status of their objective. 4. A running list of the top players in the online game sphere that have achieved the highest scores of all time. Question 9. Claire asked for a new gaming console for her upcoming 15th birthday, but her dad had no idea what a game console was. Claire's dad had to look up the definition of a game console to be sure that he purchased the right gift. What definition did Claire's dad likely find when he looked up game consoles? 1. Handheld devices that allow an individual to play video games on the go. 2. Devices that hook up to a TV or other display and are designed to play video games. 3. Goggles in 3D that allow individuals to play virtual reality types of games in a fully immersive experience. 4. Devices that are connected to a 3D projector and allow individuals to experience the virtual reality on a big screen. Question 10. A game of chance is one where the outcome is primarily determined by 1. Randomness. 2. Player's skill. 3. Opponent's decisions. 4. Proper strategy. Question 11. What are the 3 major market players in today's current 8th gen of consoles? 1. Nintendo, Apple, and Sony. 2. Apple, Sega, and Atari. 3. Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. 4. Sega, Panasonic, and Microsoft. Question 12. In gaming, rendering refers to what? 1. Writing and rewriting data onto a single chip. 2. Generating scripts to determine how objects and characters should move. 3. Taking apart code to find out how a game runs. 4. Generating visuals. Question 13. Using vector graphics, how can 3D objects be rendered? 1. By connecting a series of polygons. 2. By applying bitmaps to the object. 3. By defining their position on the x-axis. 4. By defining their position on the y-axis. Question 14. When a game allows you to pick party members from a large pool, each with different classes and roles, but in which no single party combination is clearly superior to the others, the game is using 1. Intransitive relationships. 2. Transitive relationships. 3. Orthogonal relationships. 4. Parallel relationships. 15. A technical design document is 1. One that is sorted in the code of a game itself. 2. One that is stored on a cloud computing. 3. Used by writers and animators to make their work as interesting to the audience as possible. 4. The plan for how to implement the game design. Question 16. What are storyboards? 1. The collection of computer instructions and other files that constitute a piece of software. 2. Software used to create game levels, maps, campaigns, or scenarios. 3. Simplified programming systems or interfaces for creating interactions. 4. Sequences of quick drawings that depict the action and progression of the game. Question 17. In video gaming, a port refers to 1. An unauthorized copy created by reading the original game source code. 2. A game originally designed to run on one platform that has been converted to run on another. 3. A video game that was developed from a form of media like a movie or a book. 4. A video game that is universally disliked by critics. Question 18. Who on a game development team is responsible for testing a game to find out and report bugs, defects or bugs, and verifying when the issue has been fixed? 1. The character rigger. 2. A gameplay programmer. 3. Tools programmer. 4. Quality assurance professional. Question 19. Blender is an open source blank used for three-dimensional games. 1. Scripting tool. 2. Modeling tool. 3. Programming tool. 4. Production and communication tool. Question 20. When a player is fully absorbed in virtual space of a game, they are experiencing 1. Spatial immersion. 2. Narrative immersion. 3. Strategic immersion. Or 4. Tactical immersion. Question 21. Exerting power to achieve a goal is called 1. Sympathy. 2. Empathy. 3. Autonomy. 4. Agency. Question 22. A machine's ability to mimic human thinking to behave in a way that appears to be learning and solving problems is known as 1. Personal best. 2. Human-computer interaction. 3. Artificial intelligence. 4. Game mechanics. Question 23. What was the first commercially successful cartridge-based video game console that introduced the concept of housing game software separate to the game console, making the release of new games cheaper? 1. 3D Tic-Tac-Toe. 2. Atari 2600. 3. Tennis for Two. 4. Sega Genesis. Question 24. The form of immersion that has players focused on winning the game and weighing their actions in terms of maximizing their chances for victory is called 1. Spatial immersion. 2. Narrative immersion. 3. Strategic immersion. 4. Tactical immersion. Question 25. Which of the following is an example of gameplay in a video game? 1. The art style. 2. The player interacting with the game, world, and game mechanics. 3. The personality of the characters. 4. All of the above. Question 26. In video games, the resolution of a story 1. Is created entirely by the author. 2. Is irrelevant to game design. 3. Relies on the player's actions. 4. None of the above. Question 27. How is gameplay defined? 1. Any element within a computer game Computer programs such as a computer game which simulates decision making based on algorithms defined by game designers and programmers. 2. What the player can do in a game and how other entities respond to the player's actions. The way players interact with a video game, including rules, plot, objective, and overall experience. 3. The state of complete skill, knowledge, and accomplishment of something. The way a player becomes an expert at a game. 4. A broad category of games where gameplay is designed to simulate real world or fictional activities and often require resource management skills. Question 28. The physical component of computers that carry out the basic operations are 1. Software, 2. Hardware, 3. Firmware, 4. Vaporware. Question 29. What core components are involved in all games? 1. Player actions, humor, rewards, and coins. 2. Player goals and actions, rules, and challenges. 3. Challenges, riddles, mind benders, and tasks. 4. Injury, rebirth, rules, questions. Question 30. Read-only memory chips are used to 1. Record high scores and later save slots for longer games. 2. Translate input from players into visual output. 3. Store data that cannot be modified. 4. Secure game code so that it can't be copied or pirated. Question 31. A state of deep engagement that allows a player to fully invest in a game's world is called 1. Gameplay innovation. 2. Player immersion. 3. Truth in storytelling. 4. Game as art. Question 32. When a game is described as being simple to learn but difficult to master, what does this mean? 1. It means that the game seems simple at first glance but is actually extremely difficult to learn and master. 2. It means that it will take a long time to learn how to play the game, but you will be able to master it quickly. 3. It means that you will learn how to play the game almost immediately, but you will want to keep playing for a long time in order to master it. 4. It means that the game is incredibly simple to learn and master, and players will likely grow bored quickly. Question 33. What are the foundations of any game system that control what the players can or cannot do in the system, as well as the penalties, rewards, and other consequences that result from the player's actions? 1. Rules. 2. Feedback. 3. Tasks. 4. Algorithms. Question 34. The more polygons in a 3D object, the more detailed it can be rendered in. This allows for what? 1. Creativity and innovation. 2. Lighting without as much effort. 3. Cell shading and object shading. 4. Realism and artistry. Question 35. What component of a game makes victories feel earned and helps the player become psychologically engaged by the playing experience? 1. Color and sound. 2. Challenges and conflicts. 3. Weapon choice and scenery. 4. Character backstory and history. Question 36. Companies that produce games for sale are called 1. Publishers. 2. Promoters. 3. Producers. 4. Studios. Question 37. I am the most popular game design engine available today. My personal version is available for free, and I began as a 3D game engine, but a 2D toolkit and workflow have recently been integrated. What engine am I? 1. Unreal. 2. Unity. 3. Stencil. 4. Construct. Question 38. In game design, QA stands for 1. Quality assurance. 2. Quantity of action. 3. Question and answer. 4. Quest activation. 39. The role that manages the overall game development, scheduling, and budget is 1. The publisher. 2. The producer. 3. The lead designer. 4. The lead programmer. Question 40. A discipline is 1. A programmer who also designs video games. 2. An area of knowledge or specialization. 3. A playtester. 4. An artist. Question 41. What does a fairly typical development process for games of all sizes begin with? 1. High concept phase. 2. Storyboards. 3. Production. 4. post-production.